We want to sell the story sells, the numbers tell, right? And so if you want to pitch your product, if you want to sell your product, you're going to have to tell a story. And that. Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hey, our sponsor for the show today is Pine Financial Group, the leader in hard money lending in Colorado and Minnesota, and they were recently approved to offer their investment publicly. This investment offer is only for investors in Colorado and Minnesota and is only made through their investment prospectus. Get your copy today. Simply visit www.pineinvestments.com and click to get started. Look, there's a reason why some of the wealthiest people in history invest in loans backed by real estate. Learn more about the risks and returns at www.pineinvestments.com. Hey, welcome back to Pillars of Wealth Creation. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. With me today, I've got John Stiles with Bridge Realty. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, Todd. How are you?
Well, I'm doing excellent. We're here for another Hump Day Hustle, and we're going to be talking about a book review, Pitch Anything. And we both enjoyed the book, I think. I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. John, what you want to give our listeners a little bit of a background of what the book is all about?
Sure. Yep. So the author is Oren Klaff. And apparently he is the kind of guy that raises a lot of money for big companies, millions and millions of dollars, even $1 billion on a specific deal he gave an example of. And so he explains throughout the book, when you have these short time periods, usually 30 minutes, 60 minutes, to present your idea to these investment bankers, this is the way that you can go about it to make sure that, people pay attention.
Yeah. And which is really good for anybody who owns a business, because if you own a business, likely there's a good chance you're going to be able or be wanting to raise some sort of money from investors or pitch a big deal of some sort. As a multifamily syndicator, that's obviously what I do all the time. Now I'm in a little different situations than he is, but fairly similar. I'm pitching the, offering to my investors. And so I got a lot of good stuff out of this. And I think it actually applies to any kind of sales technique. Again, it doesn't matter if it's pitching a investment prospectus or if it's pitching just any kind of product. It kind of applies all across the board.
Yeah, I'd really agree with that. At first, it took me a while to kind of, become attached to the message, because I was like, well, I don't pitch $1 billion deals, but really every time I get on the phone and try to get somebody's attention, I can use some of these strategies to keep their attention for what I want to present to them.
Yeah. And really kind of my main take out of the book that I got from it was first of all, it's about keeping it short. We don't want to drown it out with a bunch of details, because the details are great and everything, but honestly, it's all about the story is kind of what he says. And it kind of goes along with a couple of books that I've read also that are talking about, there's a book called Building a Story Brand. I mean, it's very, very similar. We want to sell, the story sells, the numbers tell, right? And so if you want to pitch your product, if you want to sell your product, you're going to have to tell a story. And that was, in my opinion, maybe one of the most central themes of the book.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that there's two main things that stuck out to me. Number one is just the idea of how our brains process information. So he broke it up into the crocodile brain, the midbrain, and the the neurocortex.
Yep.
And so oftentimes when we're when we're giving the information, it's coming from our neural cortex, which is, the analytical part of our brain. But primarily, it's received through the crocodile brain, which is, its job is to determine if there's danger and if there's other things that are more important. And, you know, if this thing is important, how can I simplify it and make it really easy so that there's not too much energy taking up from analyzing it. So I think that's a huge concept that he presented. So just recognizing that the way that we're presenting it from our viewpoint is not necessarily how it's being received.
Yeah, definitely. We think, I'm an analytical kind of a numbers person, and oftentimes I try to focus on that, and have in the past focused on that. But it definitely is all about really the story. That's what people want to. People want to feel, whether they will admit it or not. It is true. People want to feel connected to whatever you're selling. They want to feel like it's got to be important to them. So you've got to make it important to them. So when you're pitching an investment, let's say a multifamily investment like me, I want to make it so my investors feel like they've been to the property before. I want to, if I can, I want to make it feel like the investors could actually live at the property. They see themselves able to live there. We've got potentially a feel good story. Maybe we're taking this property that has a lot of crime and drugs and, just bad stuff going on. And we could take that and turn it around and really help the neighborhood and, provide good people with a safe place to live. And so, telling that story of that feel good story is important as well. But we want to make it so our investors feel like, I've been to this property, I get the story, it feels good to me. Of course, we want to know that there's profit involved, but that's a very small portion of it. We want to feel comfortable. We want to feel safe. We want to know our investment is safe, and we want to have a story behind it to understand what's going on.
Yeah. The story is what allows people to kind of emotionally attach themselves to what's being presented. If it's just raw numbers, they get detached. Even if you are an analytical person and you're receiving this information, you know, it's not something that keeps your attention really.
Yep, you're gonna zone out, and you know what? The numbers are right in front of you, so it's easier to read those numbers sometimes. And if you're giving that presentation, just give a little, really kind of quick. I think he talks about having a 25 to 30 minute presentation and less than 5 minutes being spent on the numbers.
Right.
Hey, let's take a minute to thank our sponsor, Pine Financial Group. Look, you work hard for your money. Is your money working hard for you? Because of inflation, money sitting idle erodes your wealth. Many investors understand that real estate is a great investment, but may not want the effort or the risk that comes with owning their own property. They want to sit back and have payments hit their bank account each and every month. Stop eroding your wealth and start building it by asking your money to work for you. You should be earning profits while you sleep, an investment backed by real estate. Pine Financial Group, the leader in hard money lending in Colorado and Minnesota, was recently approved to offer their investment publicly. This investment offer is only for investors in Colorado and Minnesota and is only made through the investment prospectus. Get your copy today. Simply visit www.pineinvestments.com and click to get started. There's a reason why some of the wealthiest people in history invest in loans backed by real estate. Learn more about the risks and returns at www.pineinvestments.com. It's www.pineinvestments.com. Anything else, John, that you want to highlight?
Yeah, I think the other big concept is just frames, that
Mm-hmm.
we each have our own perspective of the world and of the situation. And so he talks a lot about having frame control and there's different frame busters that will break up the other person's perspective and allow them to see things from your side of things.
Yeah, definitely. I thought there was a lot of good stuff there. You know, he talks about how, I mean, there's, like you said, there's all kinds of different frames. So some people want to always be in control. Some people want to be the boss, basically. And so you've got to bust into that frame. Some people frame with, you know, being funny. Some people frame, there's all kinds of, I guess, different frames. If I had them in front of me, I could read off a couple, but I thought that was great. Some really good information. It's hard because, you know, anytime you give examples like that, it's great to hear and see, but then you actually have to put it into practice. And if you don't put it into practice, you kind of forget about it. So I've forgotten about what most of the frames are and what your frame busters would be. That would be something that, again, you just have to practice or take one of his, I think he does, you know, courses or whatever. So you'd have to probably take one of his courses or something in order to really get that.
Yeah, I didn't see any advertisement in the book about courses that he offers, but he did talk about practicing with people, which I thought was really important. So one frame that he talked about was the time frame. You know, often you'll go into a meeting and they'll say, well, I've got just 20 minutes, so why don't we get to it? And so I thought it was really funny when he said, okay, no problem, well, I've only got 15 minutes. And he said that sometimes he's gotten down to like 2 minutes because they'll go back and forth and just say, oh, well, I've only got 10 minutes. So
yeah, well, actually, I only have 10 minutes. Oh yeah, you know what? You come to think of it, I only have 6 minutes. So yeah, I think because everybody wants to be in control, right? So they're trying to control the situation, and if you can control it that way, you're kind of already ahead of the game. So
yeah,
yeah, he did talk or two about, you know, maybe you've got a meeting set up and the main person you wanted to meet with is quote unquote busy. You know, he talked a lot about that and how to fight against that. You know, obviously you want to meet with the most important people. That's who you're meeting with. That's who the decision makers are. And if you're going to spend 25 minutes giving a presentation, 30 minutes giving a presentation, and you're presenting to people that aren't going to make a decision, well, what's the point? You know, so we want to make sure we get in front of the right people as well. Which in my business, I'm presenting to my investors. So I've already gotten in front of them. So that's not necessarily the case there, but for a lot of people, that could be the case.
yeah. Do they ever say though, we got to talk to the wife to make sure that, or the husband to make sure that we're all on board?
That is true. I do get that sometimes. Like I've got to talk to wife or husband. It actually doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while I do. Now with my coaching, I do get that quite a bit is, I got to talk it over with my, you know, husband or wife. And so I get that with the coaching. But I don't get it very much with my investing every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else, John?
Well, I think those are the, you know, high level main points. I like the book. I'm actually on my second time going through it. Haven't finished it the second time, but definitely worth a read. Even if you're not pitching billion-dollar deals, you know, we can all take something from it, and it's really interesting. So
Yeah, and some good stories too that he puts in there. So it's not only good actionable content, but it was fairly entertaining. The $1 billion deal that you're talking about was kind of an exciting story the whole time, and so that was really interesting. I definitely listened to it a lot more when I was listening to that story. I really liked that, and then I read the book too. So I've done both Audible and the actual hard copy of the book, and I really enjoyed it. A lot of good actionable content. Definitely worth people taking a look at and adding to their library if they haven't already. Pitch anything. So,
yep.
Cool. Well, awesome, John. Appreciate it. You have a good rest of the day. Make every day Saturday, man. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Couple things before we go. Again, go on to our Facebook page, Pillars of Wealth. We'd love to have you on there. Go on to iTunes, give us a rating and review, and subscribe to the show. Also, don't forget, reach out to me if you want any help with potentially growing your business, and reach out to John Stiles to help you buy or sell real estate. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Have a fantastic the rest of the day. And as I say, make every day a Saturday.